Hello again, it's me, John, the Old Geek, and I'm back with another old school AD&D module review, and this time I'm going to be looking at this one here, UK4, When a Star Falls. When a Star Falls was written by Graham Morris, and like the other ones in the series, published by TSR UK, and this one came out in 1984. Now, 1984 was not a good year for AD&D modules, with the exception of the UK series. The US branch of TSR had gone down the tie-in path with the Conan modules, which were terrible. They were obsessed with Dragonlance. You got the first 4 or 5 of the Dragonlance series, which love them or loathe them. I thought the setting was good, but the modules themselves weren't. And then you had the Forest Oracle released, which is generally believed to be one of the worst AD&D modules ever put to print. Thankfully, the UK series bucked the trend. Does UK4 continue with the quality that UK's 1, 2 and 3 showed? Let's find out. As with my previous reviews, I'm going to begin with the topic of presentation, and it's got the same artist as both UK2 and UK3, but the cover in my mind is better. It's got a nice sense of mystery to it, and it shows aspects of the module in an interesting manner. I quite like this cover. It might not be technically up there with the likes of the covers of Ravenloft, for example, which was an outstanding piece of work, but it is effective. Internally, it's written by Graham Morris. The standard of writing is excellent, very clear, very helpful. There isn't a monster roster in this one, which is a bit of a shame, but you do get not just one fold-out cardboard section of maps, you get that one, and that one as well. Maps are lovely, really, really clear. Internal artwork, a bit patchy. There are a couple of nice pieces. I think it's a little bit down on the last 2, but the cover makes up for it, so it gets a plus for me. Once again, the text is very, very helpful. The monster information is extremely easy to read, is embedded in all the encounters, and it all makes the job of the DM much, much simpler. The plot of this one is relatively straightforward, but it is interesting. I'll give you the blurb from the front cover. Hurled like a blazing spear from the night sky, the shooting star would shape the fates of many. So it was written. Yours is the chance to reforge destiny. There is everything to gain or to lose. The basic idea is that it's a fetch and carry type adventure. The party learn of the location of a shooting star, and then they learn from someone else where they've got to take it to. It's really rather straightforward like that, but there are some nice twists in it, and some of those locations they go to are very nicely done, very interesting, and they are, as with both UK2 and UK3, they err on the side of being less fantastical. There is a strong sense of verisimilitude. The open encounter to this adventure is one of my favourites. I've seen other reviewers mark it down, and I don't understand why. I absolutely love it. It's a new creature called a memory web. I should have mentioned that there were spoilers, so if you're going to play through it, go away. If you're going to DM it, keep on listening. So the first encounter is with a creature called a memory web, a new creature that has killed a group of monks. The party fight the memory web, and as it dies, it throws out all the memories of those it has recently killed, and those memories hit the party's minds and are embedded in their minds. I love it. I played this one up when I last ran it. I wrote all these memories on little bits of paper, screwed them up and threw them at my players, stood up and hurled them around the room, and I quite enjoyed doing that. It's a little sadistic sense of humour of mine. But these memories are all intrinsic to the plot. They tell the party where they need to go, they give them clues as to what to do when they get there. And one thing I like about the presentation is if you look at the top of the pages, there's another one there. Those are the memories written out on the top of each page, and each one corresponds with the page of text that it is printed above. I think that's a lovely little touch, really, really nice. But I think that's a great encounter to start the adventure with. Something really different, and it has an impact. Now, the first main area where there is danger to the party is a lair which was inhabited by Derro, or what's left of a tribe of Derro, because the lair has been hit by the falling of the shooting star. I think Derro are great enemies. They are tough little buggers. They're intelligent, and they provide the party with a significant challenge, even in their weakened state. But it sets the tone for the adventure. It's an adventure with quite... no, there's not a lot of fighting, but what fighting happens is challenging throughout. And the characters, well, the players need to be on their game. It's an adventure for levels 3 to 5, and I would suggest level 3 characters don't apply. Party of 6 or 7 level 4 and 5 characters, yes, that's about right. Having found the star at the ruined Derro lair, the party then head towards the Tower of Heavens to consult with the sages there, or one sage in particular, because when they get there, the sages have revolted. Now, this tower, it feels nice and authentic, and it's nice that the designer Graham Morris has incorporated sages. They are not used very often in adventures. The UK series does like to bring in little used rules from the Dungeon Master's Guide, and it's a nice touch. One of the nicest things I like about the Tower of Heavens are the little spots of humour that are in there. The tower is guarded by a group of gnomes, and the sergeant of the guard is a Captain Mannering. To get that little bit of humour, you might have to be British and of a certain age, but it's from Dad's Army. Also, one of the sages, his name is Pyars. Now, sage is scientist type, maybe a bit of a mathematician. Pyars squared. Again, another little bit of humour. I like that sort of thing. Having met the sage they need to speak to, the party then head off to the final main location, which is a lair for a group of deep gnomes. They trade the shooting star for some books that this sage wants. Now, this is a bit of the adventure that isn't perfect, in my opinion. The machines that the deep gnomes make are a little awkward. They make for tough and interesting opponents, but I don't particularly like technology, that type in my D&D. And there is an encounter when they leave the deep gnome lair that is a bit of a kick in the teeth, in my opinion. It's unnecessary. There's plenty of XP, plenty to fight, plenty of treasure. There's no need for this last encounter, and if you read the adventure, you'll know exactly which one I mean. As with a lot of the modules in this series, creatures are plundered heavily from the Fiend Folio and the Monsters Manual too. There are some interesting encounters in there, particularly with a Shade, which I think stands out. There are some difficult encounters. The machines are tough, Derro are tough, and fighting, if it all kicks off in the tower, which it is likely to, then that's tough as well. But these encounters are ones that will make the party think, and that's a good thing. There's a good blend of potential roleplay in this adventure as well. Certainly in the Tower of Heavens, there are a few nice scenes in there which where the party can test out their role-playing chops, and they are meant to role-play the encounter with the deep gnomes at the end, because if it does kick off there, the party don't have a chance. But that is foreshadowed, so it shouldn't kick off there. Right, so let's summarise what's good about this adventure. It's a nice tight little plot. It uses some unusual mechanics. It uses some interesting creatures. It's got some lovely flavour to it. I really like the pacing of it and the way the challenges are quite focused. It's not a drudge through a dungeon. It's pretty much hit one small place, that's going to be tough, hit another fairly small place, that's going to be quite tough, and hit another small place, that's going to be quite tough. So all the encounters do matter, which is a nice touch. No module is perfect. So what's bad about it? Well, apart from the last encounter and a bit of a throwaway encounter halfway through while travelling, which seems to be a bit of excuse just to get the siege mechanics embedded in the adventure somewhere. So that's another new mechanic from the DM's guide that isn't often used in other modules, but they're a bit, those encounters are a little bit wonky. To me, the weakest part of it is that a lot of the lovely flavour is lost on the players. The sages have all their fields of study listed, and there's lots of detail regarding what they're examining, what their fields of study are, and that's really not going to come out so much during play, unfortunately. It's lovely to read, and it shows the level of the attention to detail that Graham Morris has when writing his adventures. Some might criticise that in places it doesn't feel massively fantastical, but in that sense it follows the trend of the series. If you liked UK2 and UK3, you're certain to like this one. So what rating will I give it? Well, personally, I absolutely love the adventure. I think it is one of the best from the mid-80s. It's right up there with the Gauntlet, in my opinion, in terms of its creativity and the way it's been put together. It's memorable, and it's certainly a lot better than what America was putting out in 1984. TSR UK were on a real strong run at this point. I'd give this adventure 9 out of 10. It would have been 10 without that last encounter, in my opinion. But 9 out of 10, it's one of my favourite adventures. I love running it. A copy of this adventure can be got on eBay for between £10 and £15, and in my opinion, it is well worth it. Thank you for putting up with me again. I'll be back again soon. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, tell me what you think of this review, and hope to see you again in another week or two. Good night.